Trick or treat. It would be stupid of me to sneak up behind a hunter, especially in this city. I know you still have your reflexes, and I don't want to test them out. Why the formality? Come here. I missed you. What? I did. I'm always thinking about you. If you're eating well, if you slept well, if you found a sliver of happiness. When I first met you, you were driven by revenge. But when I cut that cord, you got lost in the wind. And I feel like you're still drifting. The last time we talked, you were. What about now? Gaining a sense of purpose, That's good to hear. I was worried you'd go off the rails or off the map completely. But you even look better. I didn't think it was possible. Would it be me if I didn't compliment you? Even over the phone, I would have done it. I would have droned on about how nice you sound without listening to a word you said. I'm joking. Partially. But what we need to say isn't safe over the phone. We can't risk it, and this way I can see your face. It's a win-win, isn't it? We can't be traced, and I don't know who is and isn't in the Trimedian's pocket. Or maybe the better way to say it is not knowing how they disguise themselves. They're in the city, but as who? They might be my phone provider, but I don't even know. I can't be sure, so I have to live paranoid. It's a change of pace. But when are we not looking over our shoulders? That's why I asked you to come here. Yes, it's out of the way, private, and if anyone is coming, I'll be able to hear them very clearly. Okay, you want something a little different. You want me to go back and pretend I'm an agent or something, and I have to give you the secret code. You know, one of those strange ones like, the sky was a shade of purple yesterday, and you say something like, yes, but the clouds rolled into orange hues. What? Spy movies are fun to watch. I've always wanted to act. Well, I did some modeling here and there, way back when, but being someone entirely different sounds like fun. I always look on the bright side, despite how dismal the circumstances are. Now is... I can't describe it. Even now, I think this is the most alive I've ever felt. We plan to infiltrate the Trimedian. We have our bait, we have a couple of people to help, but we need the hunters from you. You did talk to them, right? I knew a truce would deter some, but this also affects them. How many would you say is on our side? Really? Good, we can work with that. And some are still part of the cult. Even better. We could actually do something here. Something that matters. I'm trepidatious, yes, but for a good reason and a good cause. Some people are because of what they've done, and that act deserves it, but I'm like this because of who I am and what I intend to do. Facing something as supreme as the Trimedian, banding together with enemies that would normally cut my head off before even thinking of a truce, is about the mightiest thing I'll ever do. This isn't just about Xanthus and his lover. It never was. They hide. We all hide from a power that grows in plain sight. A power that has us on the run, and we don't know what we're running from. We never have. They are a looming cloud, ready to smite us. And we can do nothing. We fight against mist. Only this time, there might actually be a way to get to them, to damage them. And if they hurt me, I think it's a noble way to die. I do stand up for myself. I have done for a long time in many different settings. But it has only really been for me, or people I directly know. I wanted to think I was brave for doing it. And there is some truth to that, I think. But real bravery is what we're about to do. Fighting for what we love. Fighting for those we don't know. Trusting hunters to be allies to fight a greater evil. Win or lose, we will be part of history. And I'd like to be remembered as a creature that was willing to die for a greater good. It does sound exciting, doesn't it? But what do you think? Do you think we're crazy? Your father wasn't that deep into it, but he was tied to some people with access, right? I mean, he was one of the lucky ones. Not affiliated with them, but close enough to know what was happening. They aren't subtle with what they do. They want us to know we're being hunted, so we're too scared to fight back. They've been doing it for centuries, so there isn't any revolution. And if the hunters say they've expanded, we can only assume how much of the world they've swayed to their cause. Xanthus, he curses them out. He wants to tear them apart, and says so in colorful ways. I find it amusing, but I bear no ill will towards them. Of all the time I've been alive, I've encountered many different humans. Strong ones, weak ones, poor and rich ones, some with gifts I can't even comprehend, and others who need a helping hand to do the basic tasks. I've met people good at heart, and ones who are only good when it suited them. And I've met some of the worst. Some with no inhibitions, no filter, no morals of any kind. The most vile. And the Trimedian, I understand them, which is more I can say for some. They're afraid of what they don't know, so instead of accepting their lack of knowledge, they want to make it disappear completely. They don't want to accept, nor will they admit, that we are not all good and all evil. We are just like them in different packaging. They look at us and see what they used to be, and it terrifies them. Because they know that we can win. I think that's what it all began with. To crush us before our number grows. I don't think so. Back then, if we all banded together, we wouldn't have defeated them. And the attempt would be at a great cost. Our world would be completely exposed, and out of fear, the rest of humanity would join the enemy. We wouldn't stand a chance. Now, I still don't know. Maybe. After this is all over, what are you thinking of doing? When we don't have to think about whether today will be our last day alive or when we can finally breathe. It might sound like a fantasy, I know. To have that kind of naive, innocent way of living. That's one thing I envy about humans. But still, when it's done, what will you do? To do that, you've got a long road ahead. Settling down after so many years of hunting. Will you be able to? If you realize that your family will never be immune to fear, then it could work. It's in your nature now to be observant, to fortify, to protect with weapons some would consider outrageous. But you know what they do and why they work. You are a hunter. Your instincts will always outweigh your ignorance. If you hear someone in the garden and know they're not human, you don't call for help. You'd find them and kill them without hesitation. I'm not surprised your father was also like that. Maybe that was why he left. Maybe He couldn't handle the torture of his paranoia. I'm saying that he moved on to settle down properly, without the constant nagging in the back of his mind to protect his child. You can do that perfectly well yourself. So I don't think he abandoned you, but sought out what you might want in the future. From what I remember, he talked about the stress. Always moving, never having a fixed place to call home. He said he had the picture-perfect life before what happened with his wife, and he wanted to find it again. He was sick of hunting, and he wanted to live again. Wanting that for yourself is nothing to be ashamed of. You're at a point where you can go to another country, make a new identity, and see where it takes you. After our talk, you said you've just been wandering, not knowing where to go or what to do. You're helping us, which we thank you for, but you don't have to go out in a blaze of glory. If anything, tomorrow you could pack up your things, get on a plane, and see how it goes. Of course I have faith in you. No matter what situation you're in, you'll adapt. You're good at that. And sure, there will be other creatures wherever you go. But if you really want to find peace, find a countryside. Find mountains and lakes and pure nature. Like I said, your instincts will always be with you. But in this kind of place, you'll never relax. You still want me to be part of your life, huh? I'm flattered. If I told you we'd be talking like this, you wouldn't have believed me, would you? Well, I like to think I've won you over to our cause. Hunters rarely take the time to listen to us. And when they do, they don't really understand what we say. But you did. You might not have had a choice, but you listened anyway. And you took it in and thought about it. And now you want my company for whatever reason. Have you warmed up to me that much? You're sweet. I'll be honest, I don't know where my own future will lead me. I don't know if there's an after when we fight the Trimedian. And if there is, I'd probably have to leave New Orleans and find a new home. I'm a creature that can never stay in one place for too long. This city is an exception because of what it stands for, and I feel safe here. I can help people here. Throughout my life, I've lived in every continent, in many countries, and settling down somewhere isn't what I'm destined for. It's not who I am. Oh, I've lived in palaces, on the streets, in a humble home, in a workplace, penthouses and tree houses and prison cells. I've been all over, and each one comes with a story. I rarely forget a thing. It's good for me to remember my life and see how humans are and were, how they've evolved. My consensus is that there is always room for improvement. The majority have progressed, some have regressed, but what remains the same is the need for love and acceptance. As long as someone out there needs comfort, I will be of use. I like to think of it as my destiny. Most don't know what their talents are when they come into this world. I am an incubus, which means in my heart I already have a sense of what I need and who I need to find. So I'm much better for the wind. You, on the other hand, I want you to have a life where the gust doesn't whisk you away. I wish we could have that kind of life together. There is a charming sort of energy about making roots, but it's not for me. I have too much love to give, and there are people out there who need me, much like you did. And aren't you happy about it, that we met? True, it's all thanks to your father, but I've spent more time with you than him. I'll confess, you were one of my more memorable encounters on this earth. I'm not lying. I've come across a lot of hunters in my time, more than I'd like to admit, and in some instances I could have died right there and then. But fortune allowed me to live. They have their own reasons for wanting to capture or kill me. Most didn't even know who I was, they just knew what I was, and that was reason enough to condemn me. But you looked for me because of a family matter. It was personal, and that drive made you stop and think for a moment. In that basement, I knew there was a chance I could die if you ignored what I said. Except you listened and allowed me to do what I do best. I remember what you felt like. You were shaking, gripping onto me like a scared child. Your tears soaked into my skin. Your breaths were labored, but you still let me in. Despite the judgment you had carried for so long, you gave in to me, someone you intended to kill. Don't lie, you did. You wanted to torture me. I could see it in your eyes. Are you glad that you didn't? Yes, I am too. I'm fortunate to see this side of you. A side that wants more than blood. You're compassionate, and you hide it behind a stoic mask. I like your real face better. Out of all the hunters I've met, you're one of my favorites. You're high on the list. The top? Someone long ago. I may give you that story, but right now is about you. Right now, I'm only thinking of you. Because you're alive, sharing this time with me. I often wonder if I hadn't left when you set me free, what our lives would have been like. I'd be at your beck and call, keeping you afloat, reassuring you when you needed it, holding you until you fell asleep, wiping your eyes, kissing your tears away. I regret it a little. I left when you needed someone the most. Your whole world came crashing down. All you'd ever known, all you fought for was a lie. And I might have eased some of the pain. But when you were alone, what did you feel? Exactly. I might not have been able to prevent it completely, but you were in desperate need for someone who understood and wouldn't judge. No, that would be the last thing I'd do. If you refused to help, I wouldn't judge you for that either. Because I know a shred of what you've been through, and it's my duty to understand and give courage where I can. For this, I am not sure. Xanthus is confident that we can infiltrate depending on how many hunters are on our side. We have a plan A, plan B, plan C, and he's working on a plan D. He's probably going to plan through the whole alphabet. He wants to keep his love as safe as possible, but I've never seen him so agitated and paranoid. Yes, it makes me nervous, but that's natural for what we're about to do. I have to be ready for whatever comes. For whatever happens, I have a role to play. I'll be on the ground, protecting Xanthus' love alongside him. He told me my debt is paid, but I'm not doing this to owe him. I believe in this, and I'm not going to hide anymore. I know you want to stay out of it, and I respect that. But I'm also asking you to respect my decision. Best case scenario, we find the leader, or at least their location, and we come out of there with no casualties. Worst case, this will likely be our last meeting. It could be anything. Bad weather conditions, too many opponents, too powerful a weapon, not being fully aware, the hunters turning on us. You're sure they won't turn on us? Okay, I trust you. If they think that Trimedian is the greater evil, then we can work with that. Ah, speaking of... It's... for in case... If I don't return, or if you hear something about my death, then you will inherit my properties. Everything I own. All the paperwork is in order. I've notified my lawyer. She'll take care of the rest. Because you're the only person in my life right now that I give a damn about. Sure, I've helped other people during our time apart, but you're always on my mind. And this way, a part of me will still be with you. You can sell them, live in them. I also have many storage places around the world, and you can do what you like with what's inside. I don't want it sitting there collecting dust when you could use it for something better. If it makes your life a little easier, I'm fine with it. Yes, all of it will belong to you. I'm not taking pity on you. I love you. Yes, I do. I don't love anyone I come across. I'm capable of a lot, and I can love many people at once. But you fill my heart the most. As of right now, yes. So I'm more than happy to give what I have to you if I don't end up coming back. Hey, come now. I'm not impervious to death. I'm prepared. And I'm ready. I've said my piece many times in the past when I thought I'd die. I've been ready for a long time. A part of me is afraid. And I will fight for my life as long as I have breath in me. But if it is not enough, then I will come to terms with that too, and be proud that I tried to stay alive a little longer. It's okay. Maybe you'll see me again. And if you don't, I'll still be with you. I have no family. Other than Xantos, you are the closest. All I want is for you to be happy. To wake up in the morning and smile that you live for another day. I want you to go out there and find what you've forgotten. Catch up on things you've missed. You deserve that much at the very least. Like I said, I love you. I always will love you. I should go. I don't want to keep them alone for too long. Keep the letters and look after them. Good. I'll send you a message just before it starts. I'll be cryptic. I'll use the thing I said earlier. What was it? The sky was a shade of purple yesterday. You remembered? Send that to me when you get it. And know I'll be smiling when I read it. This might be goodbye. But it might not. Give me your hand. Just know that whatever happens, I'll be fighting to also see you again, my dear hunter. Don't worry. I'll be okay knowing that you're okay. But you need to promise me something. Promise me first. Don't avenge me. Please, you've done more than enough. You can rest now. Live. Not for me, but for yourself. Please. Okay. Thank you. Remember, this isn't goodbye. I live as long as you do. Be safe.